Hey, Labour. Labour. Hey, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? To recap for any of you who are blessedly not as online as the rest of us, Labour MP and supposedly smart person Tanya Plibersek had a shit idea. In her role as Shadow Minister for Education, she has suggested that children take an oath of loyalty to Australia. That oath, according to her own Twitter, is as follows. From this time forward, I pledge my loyalty to Australia and its people, whose democratic beliefs I share, whose rights and liberties I respect, and whose laws I will uphold and obey. Fuck off. This is from someone who is supposed to be one of the shining lights of the Labour left. Let's run through a few reasons why this idea sucks. First of all, there's the pragmatic aspect. What's the point? Does anyone think that a kid who is going to grow up not loving Australia would really be turned around by any of this? Of course not. Tanya Plibersek is not that stupid. This is just treating politics as aesthetics, a move that is attempting to signal to conservative voters that, hey, Labour isn't so bad after all. Australians don't grow up not liking Australia because they didn't say a pledge. They don't like Australia because this country has left them behind in some way, be that socially or economically. There are always material reasons for this kind of thing. Half-assedly mumbling a few words at an assembly one time won't change a damn thing. Then there is, of course, the fact that forcing kids into a pledge is a little despotic, or at the very least a little American. And no offense to my American friends who I love dearly, but keep that shit out of here. Formal declarations of love and fealty are not exactly in line with the relaxed Australian attitude. Then there's the pledge itself. The beginning is mostly just tedious pablum. From this time forward, I pledge my loyalty to Australia, blah blah blah. I want to get to the last two parts. Whose rights and liberties I respect. Well, in Australia, religious workplaces have the right to fire you for being LGBT+. A right that the government wants to extend to all business owners who claim some kind of faith. I don't respect that right. If those new laws go through, I won't respect them either. In fact, maybe Tanya Plibersek's time would be better served railing against those laws instead of focusing on this. But the very worst part is right at the end. The whose laws I will uphold and obey. I love that this came out a couple of days after Martin Luther King Day. What was that very famous quote of his again? One has not only a legal but a moral responsibility to obey just laws. Conversely, one has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws. The man had a way with words. See, Australia has its fair share of unjust laws. Hell, we could go into how sovereignty was never ceded by Indigenous Australians, and perhaps that makes all federal law morally unjust? Or we could look at a few specific cases. For instance, there's all of our horrific immigration laws. Keeping people in island prisons with no hint of due process breaks all kinds of international laws. So it's a good thing we're just pledging allegiance to Australian law, where it's perfectly legal. Then there's the Anti-Terrorism Act of 2005, which allows feds to hold you for 14 days with no charges. That's an unjust law. Then there's all the restrictions on the right to strike, something that really should be of concern to a supposed Labour Party. And all of this isn't even going into past unjust laws. The Stolen Generation was the law. The White Australia policy was the law. The gold miners at the Eureka Stockade didn't uphold and obey unjust laws, and they were national heroes because of it. The idea that we should pledge to uphold and obey any of these laws is disgusting. It's a ridiculous swing to the right. But no, Plibersek has a separate thread for that. Patriotism, like mateship, is about solidarity. It's about what we owe each other as citizens. We don't force kids to take a pledge of mateship though, do we, Tanya? Such a thing would be a moronic waste of time, wouldn't it, Tanya? She then goes on to say, you can be proud of your citizenship and dedicated to progress. You can cherish this nation and want to make it better. As well as, you can be a progressive and love your country. I certainly do. And I just hate it. Because here's the thing. You can be a progressive or a leftist and love your country. You can love the land, the actual physical space. You can love so many of the people, despite some of their massive ideological flaws. You can love parts of the culture and the sports, and you can love the beer and the wine and the food. There's plenty around to love. But if you're going to call yourself a leftist, or even the left-light label of progressive, that all better be paired with a healthy and active suspicion of power structures. Tanya here is trying to pull a fast one on us by suggesting that the country and the laws and operations of the federal government are the same thing, when they absolutely are not. Trying to manipulate children into pledging allegiance to this deeply broken system is ridiculous. The fact that it's coming from a supposedly progressive member of our supposedly centre-left major party is a shocking indictment of how far right the politics of this country are. This is just another reminder to the Australian left that the Labor Party is not your friend. Thank you for watching, and in particular, thanks to my patrons past and present, Kitty Germain and Inga Leonora. If you would like to help support the show, please visit my Patreon at patreon.com/hardcorelime, or find me on Twitter at hardcorelime. Thanks for watching.